Hi, and welcome to the week 6 of the 6-week road to freedom. Guys, we are at the final stages of going through the software and going through the whole processes of buying and selling property. We've gone through setting up your team, which you guys should have done right now. You should have a realtor. You should have other wholesalers. You should have got on all the other wholesalers list. If you've missed any of the information, you need to go back to the beginning classes and watch them in order, week 1 all the way to week 6, where we cover all the basis as far as the foundation, all the way up to marketing, to looking for deals, to talking to sellers, to comping out properties, to contracts, and now we're ready to find the buyers. This is one of the things I think that in the beginning, I think it scares most people in this business is finding a buyer for a property. And the way that we show you how to do it, you're pretty well covered. If the property's not going to sell, obviously there's only one thing to look at, and that's probably the price of the property. You might have gotten it a little bit too high, but the market will tell you that based off of the calls that you get and from the responses that you get from the other buyers. They'll let you know whether or not the property is priced too high. But let's talk about getting buyers. So first things first, let's go to this property that we actually just picked up, I think like 2 days ago. So we're going to go ahead and use this lead as an example. All right, this lead came in from the newspaper. We actually put this under contract. Let's see what we put this under contract for. Let's see, new contract page 2. Let's take a view here and see. Actually, it's on page 1. Let's see what we actually paid for the property here. All right, we paid $23,000 for the house. Okay, so $23,000. Here is the contract that we have that we used, and I'll show you page 2 here. And let's just back out of here and go into page 2 and open this up. Okay, so we just picked this thing up. The acceptance date was 12/10, just a few days ago. And then also we're closing on 2011. Here's the signed contract, and we are now getting ready to sell this property. Again, we picked it up for $23,000. We're marketing this thing for $31,000, looking for a $7,000 to $8,000 profit on this deal. And based off of that, now we're ready to market. Now we've already done some of the marketing for this property. I'm going to do it again. So basically what we're going to assume here is that you have gone through the training, you're able to get the marketing up and running, you got phone calls coming in, and now you're getting properties to comp out. You've been able to comp this property out. We were agreed with the seller on this deal at $23,000, and now we're going to go ahead and try to sell this. And you can notice that the asking price down here, just as I'm looking down here, the asking price he started was $37,000. His lowest acceptable was $28,500, and here we are getting the property at $23,000. So we basically got the property from $37,000 to $23,000. So if I divide $37,000 divided by $23,000, that was actually a 60% drop in price. So that's what we ended up getting, a 60% drop in price, because half of 37 is divided by 2 is 18.5. So it was a 60% drop that we had from his original asking price, and that is just following the system. So most people, when they tell you a price on the phone, usually you're going to get them down much, much lower. And in this case, we didn't have a deal at 37, we didn't have a deal at 28, but we do have a deal at 23 because we can still sell this in the 20s in this case. And if you guys are at different parts of the country, all the numbers work out to be a similar thing. They're just a little bit different based off of the size. So basically we're here, we have a $23,000 contract price, and we're looking to sell this for $31,000, $32,000. All right, so first thing I would do in this case here is I'm going to go up into the marketing tab. What I'm going to do is show how to basically market this property, and then I'm going to go into the buyer section and talk about getting the correct information and building rapport and getting what's called a VIP buyers list. So here I'm just going to go into the marketing section here on the property details page. And so I have two choices. One is I can send an email broadcast to my buyers list. And then the other thing I can do is a syndication wizard, which I can blast out to all these sites. So first off, let's go through the syndication wizard. So I'm going to go down into this green box down here on the bottom, and I'm going to click on launch the property syndication wizard. All right. So basically, I'm going to have one of my partners' information in here. I'm going to put in the fax number. 762-1998. Okay. It's going to bring in the property information. All I have to do is confirm that. Let's go to the next page. Year built on this property. Sometimes, you know, it doesn't really make a difference, but if you want to have everything in, you have to make sure that the property detail page has been filled out. So it looks like we didn't bring in year built, and that's something that you can add in. It's got the living square feet. It's got the covered parking spaces, for sale by individual owner. I'm going to go on to the next here. And then I want to pick all the different type of property features. So what I did is I already clicked central AC, central heat, living room, dishwasher, refrigerator, stove. It's got a yard, it's got covered parking, and that is about it. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. If you have different things that you need to add for your property, obviously this is where you would go ahead and put all of the property features. And then you're going to click on the next button here to go on to the Stage 4. All right, so stage 4 is that we have to pick the pictures. So obviously you're going to have to get pictures to upload into your system. In this case, we did. Now what you're going to want to do is you can put photo descriptions. I tend not to, but it's completely up to you. You can definitely do that. A lot of people do, and they like doing it. For myself, I just don't for whatever reason. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to include this picture, and then I get to pick what my main photo is. So notice if I change the dots here, if I change the links here, it's going to move. So I don't want to actually have this position. I'm going to have this as the main photo. The top one is the main photo. And then I'm going to include a picture of the kitchen and then a picture of the bathroom. And that's pretty much good for me. I don't have to include all the other pictures if I don't want to. You know, it's up to you as how many pictures that you want to go ahead and use for your listing. I tend to just use 3 or 4, and that's about it. What you also can see down here in the bottom is something that we put in, which is called a virtual tour. So if you are in the business and you're going ahead and taking virtual tours of the properties so people can get a better idea, especially you guys that are out there doing virtual investing. Just had a guy today call me. He's doing wholesale properties from Sweden and doing them in South Florida. So he has a guy that actually goes in there and takes video of the properties, and then he links them right here. So that's what you would do. Once you would get that property uploaded to YouTube, and then you can go ahead and put the link right in here, and that will show up on your listing. So now that we're good with that, let's go on to the next section. All right, and the next section is where we're going to do our listing title. So this property is on a double lot, cheap block house on double lot. You can be as outlandish as you want on the listing titles. The number one goal here is obviously to get people to open up your emails. We have pretty good responses from our buyers list because we've gone the extra mile and contacted these guys and built a relationship with them. If you don't have that, because so what I'm saying is that they open up a lot of our emails no matter what we have because we have personal relationships. If you don't have a lot of personal relationships with people and you're not calling to build the rapport, you need to go ahead and pay a lot of attention to your listing titles to make sure that they get opened. So you can be as outlandish as you want here, and then you're going to have property description. In this case, we chose to write 2-bedroom, 1-bath block house on a double lot. Lots of room to roam. House has great potential in an upscale neighborhood. Great investment for the price. All right. The after repaired value in this case was $60,000. And the rehab cost was estimated at $2,000. The asking price is $31,000. Now what you're going to see down here is that we bring in 2 appraisal services that you can use. All right, so we have the Zestimate and the e-appraisal. Now notice you have check boxes to the right of those. Now if I was trying to sell a property for $60,000 and the Zestimate was showing $30,000, now everybody knows that the Zestimate is not perfect. All right, we use it as indicators when we're making appointments on deals, and an indicator just to look at a property really quick to see if it has a little bit of a spread. But in this case, we have one appraisal that's coming out at $45,000, the other one at $61,000. I'm probably not going to include the e-appraisal at $45,000, but I will include the Zestimate at $61,000. So in some cases, I might not even put the after repaired value. It's up to you. It's up to your buyers and the relationships that you have. But in this case, let's go ahead and put it in there at $60,000. And again, the rehab cost, the asking price, and then the Zestimate. We have our listing title and our description. So let's go on to the next thing here. So this is stage number 6 in the wizard. Again, this is just going to allow you to see your contact information to make sure that everything is good, that you didn't make any mistakes. And this is really just like an overview. This is an overview of the ad that's going to go out. So you just want to make sure that everything makes sense in here. It all comes in, everything looks good. So this is really just kind of looking over this to make sure everything's good. And you're going to click on the next. And from here, basically, you have a couple of options. All right, depending on what value or what level of FreedomSoft that you have a certain number of websites. So what this does here is this is always going to be posted on a buyer site because this is a property we're looking to sell. So it goes on a buyer site looking for a buyer to come in and get it. Some people get that confused, and some people have different ways of saying it as far as seller sites and buyer sites. What we call seller sites are sites that we set up for sellers to go there and fill out their information so we can buy their property. All right, so that's a seller site. On a buyer site, and again, some people have this vice versa, but I'm telling you how it's set up in our system. For a buyer site, that's where we post all of our properties for sale and we target buyers to go to those sites. So in this case, since we were listing this property, it's going to bring in our buyer sites, Florida Rehab Deals and RealFreedomProperty.com. If I want this syndication to go out to both of those, I'm just going to click on those both check boxes, and then I need to have one of these as a primary listing. So I would going to pick my normal site, which is Real Freedom Property, as a primary listing, but I also want this included on this other site. So if you have 4 or 5 buyer sites that are set up in your system, those will all show up here, and then you have to decide which ones to include and then which one is going to be the primary listing. The next thing we're going to go down here is the social media accounts. In the setup menu of FreedomSoft, you can go ahead and set up your social media accounts. So I would if you don't have those set up, what I would tell you to do is to go into setup, and you can get there by the upper menu bar all the way up at the top in the upper right hand corner, and you're going to see links up there. And the one you're going to go to is this setup, and that's where you're going to be able to set up all your social media accounts. And once you set them up, this is where they're going to show up. And it's the same functionality as there is in the first section up top, where you can choose to include these in the listings or not. So what's going to happen is when I syndicate this property, it's going to immediately go to my Facebook and to the Twitter page. And if you have multiple social media accounts, they will go to all those also. All right, we're almost done here. And then the message on the bottom, this is basically what's called a public link. All right, the public link is going to show up in your property details page, and I'm going to show you where that's going to be shown up. So if someone calls your office and you need just a quick link to the property, you can go right in there and pull that private link out and send that to them. The other thing that you're going to see down here in the bottom, and I'll get back to that, that's going to show up also in your communication log. Anything that you do as far as generate a contract, if you syndicate a property, if you broadcast a property, all those things actually show up in your property details page, and I'm going to show you exactly where to see those at. All right, now down to the third-party syndication. We want this to go out to all these different syndications here, so I want to include every single one of them. If you didn't want it to go out to certain ones, all you have to do is check the box off, and then what we're going to do is go to the bottom of the section and hit syndication. All right, now obviously I went very slow through this because I was explaining how to do it. When you're going through this, it really just takes just a few seconds. And then you can see here is that the syndication progress, everything is now a success, which means it's gone to all these different places. And then what we have here on the bottom is we have HTML code. Since Backpage and Craigslist do not allow you to auto post, what we've done is we've given you the HTML code. So all you have to do is click inside and copy. So I'm going to copy this HTML code, and then I'm going to click on Backpage and Craigslist, and I'm going to post it out there. I'll show you how to do it on Craigslist right now. So basically, I've copied the information. Now I'm going to click on Craigslist. And the system is going to bring me right out to Craigslist, and then I'm going to click on Housing Offered. All right, automatically set you up here. And then I'm going to go down to Real Estate by Owner. And then I'm going to pick my county, which is Hillsborough County. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my price, which is $31,000. And the posting title, awesome 2-bed block on 2 lots. Awesome 2-bedroom block on 2 lots. Specific location, let's just write Tampa. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click into where it says posting description, and then I'm going to paste that HTML right in here. All right, and then I'm going to put my reply. Let's do my reply to Real Freedom Property, and then you have to type that again. All right. And it already has the images and everything in there, so you don't have to worry about adding the images. And then you don't actually have to put the street number in there because it actually shows up in the listing. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm just going to click continue. And there it is. There's my property. Everything is all set. It's got the listing in there. It's got the information. It's got all the additional pictures that are in there. And it's automatic. It's all ready. It's all set to go. So from here, basically what I would do is... let's see, I'll go down to the bottom and hit continue. So I'm going to go ahead and click continue, and then I have to accept the terms. So I'll go down there and accept the terms down on the bottom. Okay. It says, warning, your email address is included in the bottom of your posting. To better protect against spammers and scammers, please remove it if you need, yada, yada, yada. However, the Craigslist generator recommends ML's email. All right, so I'm fine with that. Let's just go ahead and click on edit again. And let's click continue. Usually I don't care if I have that in there. All right, so we're all set here. Now basically here what's going to happen is Craigslist is going to go ahead and send you a confirmation email. Once they send you the confirmation email, this will be posted up. But that's exactly how to go ahead and set this up so you don't have to worry about it. To post to Craigslist used to be a real pain in the ass for me because you had to worry about all the formatting, you had to upload the photos, you had to make sure everything looked good. Now you can just go into the syndication, you could copy the HTML, post it right in here. It takes just a matter of a few seconds to do, and next thing you know, now your property is out there on Craigslist. All right, and the same thing you can do on the back page. So I'm just going to get out of this, go back into the system here. So I would do the same exact thing with back page. I would click on here. I would copy the HTML, then I would click out to back page, and I would do the exact same thing that I just did there. I'd choose my metro area, which is Tampa. Let's find Tampa here. All right, I found Tampa here, and I would go through the same exact process where I want to do real estate for sale, and then I want to go to homes for sale. And I'm going to pick my area, which is Tampa. I'm going to click on the description. I'm going to paste in the HTML, and I'm going to do the same thing. Price tag is $31,000. Title is cheap 2-bed block with double lot. Location here is Tampa. And we don't have to worry about the address. If you want to put the addresses in there, you're completely fine to do so. Just for this types of purpose, I'm just going to go ahead and skip it. Let's put in my email. All right, sorry I'm a slow typer. Hide my email address, and we don't have to worry about uploading images. And then you can do some stuff like this as far as auto repost the ad. We don't typically do it, but you can do it. It's pretty cheap. You do it 4 different times for 50 cents, or you can just set it up here. We don't typically do that, but it's up to you if you'd like to do that. And then I'm just going to click on continue. And it says your email address and confirm email address do not match. I must have typed it wrong. So and I go down here and redo it again. Now I know that you guys know how to post this stuff, but I just wanted to obviously go through this whole thing here. Don't you hate when they ask you this stuff, because sometimes you can't even read the word here. C-O-L-I-A-N-S. Let's see if that works. All right, here's my ad. Everything comes up perfectly, the same thing as the other thing, and everything is good to go. So from here, what I would do is place ad now. And there you go. So in order to make your call live or to make your ad live, they're going to send an email. All you have to do is click on that email and your now property has been syndicated. Now, not only has it been syndicated to Craigslist and Backpage within just a few minutes, it's also gone to your social media accounts, and it's also gone to all these different sites up here, including my my buyer's websites. Let's go into my buyer's website now, and let's make sure everything got posted up there. Actually, it's over here, Real Freedom Property Buyer Site. And there's the property. There's the property that we just went ahead and set up. All right, so that goes in there. That's perfectly set in there. And then I want to go back into FreedomSoft now, so I know that that got uploaded there. I'm going to go back into FreedomSoft, and from here I'm pretty much done. So I'm going to click on Finish, and I know that I've just marketed this property out to all those different places, and now I just wait for my phone to ring. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into the property details page. And what happens when you go back in here, like I said before, anything that you do on this property is going to show up here. So notice what we just did is we just syndicated this property, and this right here is where the public link is. So if I click on this link, what it's going to do is it's going to open up that flyer that was created. So I'll go ahead and click on this now. And then notice that this is just a public link to this flyer that you just created. So if someone calls your office and they need to get the information about this property, you can quickly just email them over this link. And then basically this has all the information. It's got your information, how to get in touch with you, and the ad is set very, very well, and it's all done. So remember that. That's very important that you remember that, guys, is that syndication and anything else that you do is going to show up in that communication log. So you can go ahead and get that later on. Notice what you're also going to see is anytime that I email something out that has to do with this property, it shows up here. If I syndicate the property, if I send any emails out, if I email a contract, all that stuff is automatically not only time stamped but date stamped, so you know everything that's been done with this property since you got it. So this keeps you as far as your time frame and knowing how fast you get in and out of deals and stuff like that. So make sure you pay attention to that communication log. It's a very, very big help. All right, so that's the first thing. We have the contract. We went and blasted it out to all the different sites. Now I'm going to go back into marketing, and what we're going to do is we're going to send out an email blast now. And this used to take me forever. I cannot tell you how long this used to take me. The reason why is because I used to have constant contact, and you had to set all the stuff up there, and I had to pull information from one site to another. Now what we do is we basically have built an email marketing system right within the system here, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. So what we have here is the first thing is where you want it coming from. So if you want it coming from your company name or whatever the case is, you can always click in and you can change any of these values here. All right, so we have it coming from Pete and Preston. It's coming from the email realfreedomproperty@gmail. It's sending to about 5,000 subscribed buyers. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pick an email template. All right, now an email template, we just use the same template all the time. So what we've done to do the email template is that what you're going to do is you're going to go in, actually let me just do it now. Let's go into setup, and we'll come back to this. Let's go into setup, and from setup, I guess I got to click on it first for it to go there. So from setup, what's going to happen is that we have email templates. All right, so we're going to click on email templates, and now that property broadcast is down here. I can go ahead and I can upload any type of template that I want. So if you don't like what's in there already, you can go ahead and click on edit, and then basically you can just come right in here and you can type all the information, so this will show up every time that you want to send out a property. So we basically have this standard in here. Everything is all standard, and then what we would do is we'd enter the property address and the price, and then replace the property details and link above. All right, so that's what we would do in that situation and set that all up. So if you want to set up a template, you're going to have to go into setup and then into email templates, and then you can go ahead and send it all up for you. All right, so from here, what I want to do is let's just go back into the property, and the way that I do it most of the time is I'm just going to click on the FreedomSoft and I'll go back to the property through the whiteboard. You could do it by using the back button, and there's a couple other ways that you can do it too. So let's go ahead and view that lead again. All right, so here we are. We're back into the marketing section, and then I'm going to click on email broadcasts, and then that's going to pop up. So from here, what I would have is I'd have my template, which would be property broadcast, and then that it pops up. And then I can do is I can change this subject line to say awesome 2-bed block with extra lot. And then I can go into here, and now what's going to happen is that this is already formatted. I formatted this to bring in the buyer's first name, so it'll merge. And then basically we have just a little text here that we would change. So basically I would write in whatever text I would want. This, and I'm not going to go ahead and do it all now because I type like crap. This is a great 2-bed on a sick street, low repairs, and will cash flow nicely. All right, whatever the case is, you're going to spend a little bit more time as far as writing up your descriptions. And then from here, all I would do is just click in here, and then I would input the property address, and then I'd also input the price. And then I would go ahead and set up my details. So I would suggest what you would do is you would go ahead and do this so you don't have to put this in every time. And if you do it that way, it just takes a few seconds. So from here, what you can do is you can always go ahead and send a test email to yourself to make sure that you like the way the ad looks. You can check the spam. You can save this as a draft if you all set it up and you didn't want to send it out right away. You can save it as a draft, or you can just send the broadcast now. Now we've already gone and syndicated this property and we've already sent an email blast, so I'm not going to click on send email broadcast now. But that's what I would do. I would come in here, I put my information from the property, I click send broadcast now, and now I've sent an email broadcast to my entire buyers list, and I've syndicated the property to Craigslist, Backpage, all those other different sites. Now you're probably saying, okay, well, I did all that. What else can I do to sell this property? Well, there's a couple other things that you can do and that I do also. One is the cash buyer section. All right, so from here, what I would do is the zip code is 33610. I go into the marketing section underneath cash buyers. All right, so I'm going to go in here and I remember that zip code 33610. So let's wait until it gets to cash buyers. I'm going to click on zip code up top, and then I'm going to put in my zip code 33610. All right, and what I want to do is I'm going to go back. Let's go back 6 months, which we have here from 6 to 12, and let's go ahead and search this. Once we search this, what we're doing now is we're finding all the buyers that have bought for cash in the last 6 months. All right, so these are possible buyers. There's hundreds of them here that are coming up. Now, not to say that all these are investors, but there's a large majority of these properties here that these are the buyers that we need for this property. Now, one of the cool things that you can do, which I don't think a lot of people know, is I can click on owner name. All right, so if I click on owner name, what's going to happen is that it's going to group all the people that buy the most. All right, so let's click on owner's name, and now what I can see here is I go down this list, 2W Properties LLC, 2W Properties LLC, 2W Properties LLC. I know that they're buying multiple properties. Let's go down here and start to look. And that's what I do. I go after the people that are buying the most properties, and then what I'll do is I can either put this information into the white pages and I can try to find their phone number, or I can go ahead and create a campaign and send them a letter. Let's go to the next page and start to see the people that buy more than one property in the last couple months. Here's another one, Alliance Asset Holdings. Alliance Asset Holdings, and they pay in $22,000, $15,000, and $38,000. If I want to take a look at any of these properties that they're buying and compare it to what I have for sale, I'm just going to click on the actual address, and then I can go click onto the street view up top, and let's see what this property looks like. Okay, so that's the property that it looks like. There's nothing special about this property. This looks similar to what I have. This might be a good buyer. All right, so let's go ahead and hide the street view. So it's a great way to kind of see what other people are buying that are similar to the property that you have for sale. And then you can call them up and you can talk to them, say, hey, listen, I noticed that you bought a property over in 2411 East Curtis. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, and you paid $22,000 for it. I got one that's very similar. You know, you want to go take a look at it. And that's what I would do in this situation. Let's go down a little bit further because it's pretty exciting when you see these properties that people are buying more than one. Again, look at here. Look at Bay Area Trust. They're buying properties all the time. Home Loan Service. I think that's some type of a bank probably. So Bay Area Trust. Bay Area Trust has bought 5, 6 properties. So that's what I'll do. I'll go down this list here. I'll continue to go down this list and start to see who buys multiple properties here. Brick Construction has bought a couple of them. Let's go down here. Countrywide, O'Brien. Equity Heights, that's a buddy of mine. I know who that is. So I know that he bought this house for $28,100. And this is pretty similar to what we're selling. Let's go ahead and take a look at that one. And let's take a street view of this one here. All right, so that's what he bought there for $28,000. And is that comparable to what we have? And that'll also tell you if you're in the market. You know, it'll give you a good idea. And not all the time are these cash buyers just buying the best deals out there, but you can tell the ones that are buying good deals. Usually their name of their property is something with properties, investment, Equity Heights LLC. These are people that are corporations that are buying properties, and most of the time not just normal people. If you see a guy like this Donald Bay or whatever the case is, this would tell me that this is just a house that he bought in cash. That doesn't really tell me, because look at the other prices here: 20, 45, 32, 29, 28, 40, 23, 18. This is showing me that these are more of the investor properties that these people are buying here. So that gives me a good inclination that I'm on the right page. I'm right in this section there in which these people are buying. Let's go to another page here. Florida Limited Investment Properties, Gibsonton Point LLC. You can see all the buyers. I mean, these are the major players in the area. Now look at this. This is this, well, that doesn't make any sense. I'm looking at here is this Harris Gillsgrow. Yeah, he's been buying a bunch of different properties here. It looks like he bought something in an apartment complex. That's why the prices are so high. You can learn a lot from this information. Gregory Scott. Interesting. I sold that guy a house before, and he's still buying. You see that? Now this is a guy that I know that I thought was out of the market, and he's buying property. Very interesting. So now I'm going to give him a call and find out what's going on. All right, so let's go ahead and hide Street View again. So guys, spend a lot of time and go through this. And if you don't have this in your area, you know, I definitely apologize. We can only get this data. We get the only data that's out there, and I don't think there's any data service that covers the entire country. We do the best that we can. There's no better data that's out there for cash buyers. If you don't have the cash buyers in your area, there's also another. It doesn't mean that you can't do this, all right? This is just one of those extra things that you can do, but if you don't have it, it doesn't mean that you can't do it. What I would suggest is still go through the Property Syndication Wizard, still go through your email blast, and then we'll if you have this, you're going to want to go through cash buyers and either send out some mails. And if you wanted to send out mail, it's very easy. You just click on which ones you want to send, and then you can click on Create Campaign, and this is going to bring you into the direct mail section of the software, where you can have us send the letters for you, or you can do it yourself, where you can just you know, mail and stick the envelopes yourself. So that's what I would do in this situation. Now let's talk about a couple other ways to sell your properties. One of the other ways is other wholesalers. Now, if you remember back on the first call, what we spoke about is making sure that you got on all the other wholesalers' lists. So I'm going to go into my email right now, and I will show you what I'm talking about. And I did this on the first call, but sometimes you need a little refresh. So here's my email, and on the left-hand side, notice I have something that says Other Wholesalers. All right, so I'm going to click on Other Wholesalers here while it loads, and notice these are all the other people in my area that I'm on their list. And I have it set up in my Gmail account, so I know all the different properties that these people are selling. All right. So what I can do is I've made relationships with a lot of these different people, like you should be doing also. And if you ever have a situation where you can't sell a property, what I can do is I can send an email out to these guys and say, hey, listen, do me a favor. Can one of you guys blast this property out to your list, add another $1,000 on it, and see if they can sell your property. So that's one way additionally that you can use to sell the properties is making relationships with other wholesalers. These guys are your partners. They understand what's going on. They might have a guy in their back pocket that's just ready to close. So it's very important that you make friends with the other wholesalers. Even if you don't reach out and contact them, know what it is that they're doing. This is legal spying. You know all the different properties and the prices in which they're trying to sell them at. So if you know the properties that they're getting and the prices that they're trying to sell them at, that should help you on the negotiation side when you're talking to these sellers and you're making your offers. So this is very, very important that you do this, and you can set it up in your email the same way that I did. It doesn't clog my email. I have just one little section over here that says Other Wholesalers, and I have all these different all their different lists and properties that they sell on a daily basis. So I have all this that I can spy and look for numbers. That's another great way to do it. All right, one of the other things that I have here is your websites. Now, when you're sending out your mail, you're going to also be able to put your websites on there. So if you're putting out stuff on your on Craigslist and all these different things, everybody is directed to your websites where they're going to go ahead and sign up for your buyers list. All right, so that's how we're able to build our buyers list. Anybody that comes into the section, we go and have them fill out the information on our buyers list. Now, there's two ways to do that. All right, so hopefully you got an understanding of the cash value, the cash buyer value, and what to do with that. Now let's go into the buyers. So what I can do is I can add a buyer to my system. There's two ways to put a buyer into your system. One is you can manually put it in, or two is that you can direct people to your website to fill out this information. Now, I cannot stress how important. This might be one of the most important things that we talk about. I can't stress how important it is to get as much data you can about each of these buyers. All right. So what you're going to do is you want to go through these lists, and you want to figure out what type of a buyer this is, what target states and target counties. So if this person said target in Kentucky and counties was Callaway, and he wanted another county that he was targeting, all you would do is click on the plus button, and that's going to bring down a second set, and you can continue to go down based off of the areas in which he is looking to invest in. The other thing's important is the price range, the bedrooms, the bathrooms, the garage, the living area, the type of property that he's looking for, and the buyer type. What type of a buyer is he? Is he retail buyer? In most cases, we're dealing more with investor buyers, but if he was a retail buyer, I'll go ahead and make sure that I put in retail. If he's an investor, I'm going to put in the investor, and then I want to make sure that I have a lot of notes on this buyer. What I do in my office, and what I have people do in my office is I have anybody that signs up for the website, we send them an email back. Obviously, they go on to a set of autoresponders, and we send them an email back and try to get a phone consultation with them. And once we get a phone consultation with them, I'm going to walk through the same way that I walk through how to get information from sellers. I'm going to do the same thing with buyers. And I mentioned this on the first 2 or 3 calls. I don't remember which call it was, but you guys got to understand that you're only a couple buyers away from having a very, very consistent business. If you find a couple buyers that are looking to buy 4 and 5 properties a year, let me explain to you what that means. Most of these properties you're going to be able to make somewhere between $7,000 and $10,000, a lot of times more, sometimes a little bit less. If you have 3 or 4 guys that you find through your process and you go out and make relationships with, which is not hard. Let me repeat, it's not hard. If you just follow the steps, you're going to be able to talk to these buyers. These guys want to hear from you. When you send out those cash buyer letters, you're going to get responses. And it's up to you to make these people feel comfortable to say, that's someone that knows what's going on. I want to buy properties from them. So I would call up a buyer, and it would sound something like this. Hey, how you doing, Jack? This is Pete Scores over at Real Freedom Properties. Listen, I noticed that you signed up for our buyers list. It looks like you buy properties in the area. Is that correct? Yeah, I do, Pete. Thanks for calling. Oh, no problem, my man. I'm glad I had a chance to reach out with you and actually get you on the line. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what's going on, because I'd love to help you out and start delivering product to you that fits your criteria, so then you know that you have good product coming your way. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, Jack. So what exactly are you looking for? What have you done in the past? How many properties you've bought in the last year? How many properties are you looking to buy this year? Do you pay cash for that property? Are you doing financing? And what if I was able to get you a property? Let's just say, Jack, that you've gone through all the information with this guy, right? So you've gone through all the information, and he says that he wants 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, and he's looking for a 1 to 2 car garage. So 2-car garage, and his living area has got to be 1,000 to 1,500. That's his sweet spot. All right. So I'm going to say, hey, Jack, listen, I do a lot of marketing, and I find a lot of product that fit your criteria. Now, I don't like to waste time. I don't deal with tons and tons and tons of buyers. All right. I deal with a very select few of buyers, people that I like, that I can trust, and that I know are going to close properties. All right. Are you one of those people? And he's going to say, yeah, absolutely. So basically what I'm going to ask you, Jack, is if I go ahead and I can send you over something that fits your criteria, and everything is good, then we should be able to ready to go and close. Absolutely, let's go ahead and do it. Okay, well, it sounds like you're a real hard hitter, man. I love it. I love it. I'd love to sit down and have breakfast with you, or have some coffee. something like that. I'm trying to build a relationship, because what happens is once I build a relationship with this guy and he's comfortable, he knows that I know what's going on, he's going to buy multiple properties. He doesn't want to deal with a lot of these other guys. He's going to buy properties because I'm going to deliver them to him on a silver freaking platter. All right. I know what he wants. I know the areas that he wants, and I'll go market for those properties in those areas and bring them to him, which I know that he's going to buy. So it's extremely important that you build rapport with these buyers and that you fill out these sheets in entirety, all right? It's very, very, very important, because what's going to happen from here is that we can go back into the search buyers, all right? So let's go ahead and search buyers. And once we search buyers, you're going to see an advanced search functionality, all right? So the advanced search functionality is right next to the search box, show search options. So I can click on show search options. Then what I can do is I can say target state. So I find a piece of property in Florida. I can do target counties. So if there was counties that and this is where you have to fill out the information correctly. I can go into Hillsborough County. I can do buyer type, which is investor. I can do funding, which I'm looking for cash buyers or finance or both. So in this case, it was cash buyers. And then they wanted single family homes. They were looking for block properties, price range, beds, baths, living areas, and then I search for my buyers here. And this is basically what's going to happen is that now, if you get the information filled out the correct way, once you search for your buyers, it's going to give you the top 20 or 30 buyers that fit that exact criteria. All right. Now, those people can either be called, or you can go ahead and send them an email out. All right. So it's very, very important that you understand working with buyers. It's fun. When you start to build relationships with buyers, it actually starts to be really fun, because these people will call you and they'll be like, Pete, what's going on? You got any deals for me? You got any deals for me? They'll be sending you text messages. Where's the deals? So the biggest problem that people had is like, how am I going to sell this deal? How am I going to sell it? It's very easy the way that it's laid out here for you. You're going to continuously direct people to your website through Craigslist. You're going to continually direct people through your website through your Facebook. Also, you have on your Facebook is you have the fan page that you can go ahead and start getting people. Your buyers list is going to grow. Ours is over 7,700, almost 8,000 people that we have on our buyers list. Now, there's only about 5,000 or 6,000 of those that are confirmed buyers because they didn't opt back in. So I just haven't had a chance to clean the system out. But you will be able to start to build a huge buyers list. Now, I'm a proponent of a big buyers list, but I'm not opposed to having 15 to 20 A-plus buyers, and that's all I deal with. That makes life a lot easier, all right? It makes life a lot easier when I'm dealing with just a few really good, solid people, all right? And if I want to continue to get more, I can continue to get more. It's not that big of a deal. So your buyers list is huge. I would imagine the first thing to do to set your buyers list up is start posting ads on Craigslist, and make sure you start talking, either calling those cash buyer people or sending them letters. That's another huge thing. Get on as many other wholesalers' lists as possible, and make sure you set up something separate in your email like I just showed you. Bandit signs. If you have an area around here, you know, bandit signs is illegal, but we put them out. We usually put about 10 for every property that we have. In certain cases, if they don't sell immediately, which sometimes they don't sell immediately, and we want to try to get more money. So a lot of times what you're going to do is you're going to get more money off of someone that's just getting into the business than selling it to someone that's been in the business for a long time. So if I have a good deal and I know I can sell it to my VIP buyers, but I think I can make more money on the street, we'll go ahead and market the property and throw bandit signs out. So we've gone through the syndication wizard, we throw bandit signs out, we put lists on Craigslist, and then we basically answer the calls that come in from the buyers. So these buyers will come in, hey, how you doing? My name is Dion. I just saw a sign on the side of the road. Awesome, Dion. Hold on one quick second. Let me just get your information in case we get cut off. From there, I would go into buyers, add buyer, and I would start to get the information here. And I'd say, okay, Dion, what's the information? And we do the same thing we just went through. I'd ask him all the questions. I'd make sure that I understand exactly what he wants. I get his contact information, and then I'd follow up with him. You know, you can still set tasks. Once you're inside of a buyer, let's go ahead and hit search again. Once you're inside one of these leads, I can click view here, and I can also set tasks that are set up. So if I was going to talk to this guy, if I was talking to this guy, filled out his information. Now, this guy didn't fill everything out in entirety. He's got 0 to 1 million, beds 0 to 10, baths 0 to 6.5. He's got all states, all counties, and then he's got his email here. So basically, so I would probably just go ahead and take this email here and give him a quick email. and say, hey Dion, notice that you signed up for a buyer's list. I need to get some more information. I'd love to just have a few minutes with you on the phone. Or if you go back to the site and fill out its entirety, that's going to help me make sure that I deliver the right product to you. And then a lot of these people are going to do that. They're going to come in, they're not going to fill out their information. So you want them to fill out their information. And on one of the autoresponders, what there is a link to, on one of the autoresponders. Let's actually go ahead and find it now so I can show you. Let's go into setup and then into websites. Let's go into websites here. And let's go into the manage the autoresponders on my buyers page. And I think it's in number 2. So let's go ahead and click on edit. And let's see what this thing says. Listen, I just realized that our very best buyers are the ones who take the time to actually tell us what the heck they want. That way we can go after, just like Michael Phelps on gold medals. So what's going to happen is that this is set up in your system to send out an autoresponder to allow that user that just came into your website and signed up to go back to that site. So what I might do is I might actually just copy this whole thing and send them an email, or I would just let the autoresponder do its job. Now the autoresponder does its job because I can show you how that works. Let's go into my other email account here. And what you're going to see here is you're going to see another thing that says updated buyers, FreedomSoft. So I'm going to click on this updated buyers. And notice these are all different people that says that they've updated their buyer information. So this goes on. There's hundreds and hundreds of these buyers that come in on a daily basis. All right, December 9th, 10th, 12th, 14th, 15th, 16th. All these different people are coming in, and what they're doing is that they're updating their buyers list. And this is all from the autoresponders. So as they sign up for the list in the first place, the autoresponders go out and it instructs them to upload additional information. So if I click on this, it says, hi Peter, whatever her opt-in page was, VPIN just added or changed VIP buyer details at your site. Check this buyer's profile out here. So I can click on the actual profile, and it's going to bring me right back into the software, and I can see the information that she wrote. Just takes a second to load here from the email. All right, so basically what she did is she updated her information, but she didn't fill it out in entirety. All right, so this is one of those situations. You're going to get some people that fill it out perfectly and other people that don't. So what I would do is I would go through these and find the people that are serious, the ones that fill it out, and I would talk to those first. And the ones that don't fill out all the information, what I would do in that situation is I would start sending those emails trying to get these people on the phone and figure out what's going on. Now, that is basically how you're dealing with buyers. I got to sneeze here. Hold on one second. Bless me. Okay. So that's exactly what I would do here, guys. It's not difficult. You just have to do it once or twice. One of the other things that I'm going to tell you is dealing with realtors. All right, realtors sometimes are very big help when you're trying to sell a property. All right, what I do is I'll either jump on the MLS or I'll go into instant leads. Let me go into instant leads here. I'll go to the MLS or I'll go to instant leads, and I'll put in a specific zip code. All right, so let's do Florida. Let's do zip code 33610 because that was the zip code that the property was in. And let's just go ahead and search the MLS for listings. All right, now once this pops up, what it's going to do is going to give me all the realtor information. So I can call these guys, and I know where their properties are being listed at. All right, so when I know where the properties are being listed at, I can call some of these realtors and say, hey, how you doing? I'm an investor. I have a pre-MLS deal. All right, I have a pre-MLS deal, and what I'm looking for is to see if you have any buyers for your property. I'm willing to give 4% commission or 5% or whatever it is that you're willing to give them to sell the deal. And this is a great way to start to build, to build your buyers and also to build relationships with these realtors. So notice this has all these different realtors here, and they're selling properties similar to the property that I have. So I might call this guy John because I know he's got this property at 3203, which is very similar. It's in the same zip code as the property that I'm looking to sell. And what I'll do is I'll give him a call and say, hey, John, how you doing? My name's Pete from Real Freedom Properties. I noticed you had a listing over at 3203 East Emma. I got a similar property. It's a pre-MLS deal. I'm willing to give 4% commission before I list this on the MLS. Do you have any buyers that you can get over there in the next couple days before I put this on the MLS? All right, so I'll do that. I might go down the list. I might call a couple of these guys. I might call this other guy, Mark, and say, hey, Mark, how you doing? I saw your listing over at 7220 Kingsbury. I got a property that I'm getting ready to list on the MLS. It's a pre-MLS deal right now. If you have some buyers for it, I don't mind paying for 3-4% or whatever the case is, and I'm not listing this for another 48 hours. So if you want a quick sale and make money really quickly, do you have any buyers that you can send over there? Again, I'm building relationships. This business is all just about the relationships and actually doing the work that you need to do. If you really think about it, if you really think about the processes, you have bookends. There's one bookend on the front side is called marketing, and then there's another bookend on the other side called marketing. You're marketing for sellers and you're marketing for buyers. Now, if you're doing REOs, it's the same thing, but you're marketing for sellers through the MLS or auctions or whatever the case is. But that acquisition, the marketing acquisition of a property still has to take place, and the same thing on the back end. The back end is marketing for buyers. So if you get really good at marketing for sellers, you're going to be really good at marketing for sellers or buyers. The only thing in the middle is just talking to people, comping out the properties, and getting your contract signed. That's it. So if you simplify it in your mind, this business is not really that difficult if you really break it out the way that I'm trying to explain it to you. You can break it out in that way and understand that, yeah, there's other things that happen. There's all the little intricacies of buying and selling properties. There are contract clauses. There's different types of inspections and different things like that. But the basis, if you keep it simple, try to keep this as simple as possible. You market for sellers, you market for buyers. The only thing you do in the middle is you talk to people, you figure out their situations, and you make offers on properties. The ones that get accepted, you market for the buyers. The ones that don't get accepted, you outsource them, or they're just a dead lead. So this now gives you a platform so you can run your business on and know exactly what it is that you're trying to do. All right? It's very, very, very important. So let's see where else we're at here. All right, so that's what I would do. So we just went to 3 or 4 sections in the software, and we went through 5 or 6 different ways to go ahead and get buyers on your properties. What else do we have as far as buyers? We talked about bandit signs. We talked about the websites. We talked about other wholesalers. We talked about cash buyers. We talked about the syndication wizard, and we talked about email broadcast. I would feel pretty comfortable knowing that I have a property that I got under contract, that after going through all of that, which shouldn't take you long at all, I would imagine just a few minutes to go ahead and get all that stuff done, that I've pretty much done whatever I can do to sell this property. All right. The other thing that I might want to do is I might want to go talk to the neighbors, because a lot of times what happens is the neighbors have landlords. So if a neighbor has a landlord here, I can go talk to the neighbors and say, hey, listen, I'm trying to list this property across the street. Do you have any friends or anybody? I'm willing to offer a $500 referral fee. Now, you think some of these areas and these people are going to get $500 to maybe call their landlord and get him on the hook, and he might want to buy the house right next door? He might want to buy that house next door because he knows it's easy for him to manage. So the other thing you can do is you can start talking to some of the neighbors. I've sold many properties by talking to the neighbors. Actually, we just sold one on Temple, which is here in Tampa, and the way that I sold it was a neighbor walked over and she was like, oh, one of these, I can't believe you bought this house. We had a bid in on it, and one of my cousins wants to buy it. Would you be willing to resell it? And I was like, absolutely. So we bought the house, and all of a sudden the neighbor comes over as we're over there trying to figure out what to do as far as marketing it and getting it cleaned up and fixed. And she came over and said, boom, ready to go. She gave me the lady's phone number. I gave her $500 when the lead closed, and she was happier than a you can probably fill in the blanks on that one. So she was really happy. So that's another thing that you can do. You could also put flyers out. I don't tend to do that stuff just because I feel like it just doesn't come back as far as putting the flyers. The bandit signs and the Craigslist ads work the best. Calling the realtors, calling your other wholesalers, and going through the cash buyers, and you're pretty much well set. So there we have it, guys. We've gone through basically selling your properties. And now what I would tell you is at the end, We went through contracts last time. So all I'm going to do, if I'm going to sign a contract, all right, I've talked to the seller. I know how to go ahead and get that contract signed. We went through that in week number 3 or 4. I can't remember. So now we have that contract signed. We have 30 days to sell the property. So what we do is now we go through all the marketing. Now let's say that I get a buyer, all right? So if I get a buyer, what I'm going to do is let's go back to that lead. And let's tie it all in together. So here we go. We have view lead. And I want to generate my assignment contract. All right. So now I already have a contract with the seller, which I showed you before. Now I was able to go out there and find a buyer to pay, let's say 30 grand for the property. All right. So we bought it for 23 and we're selling it for 30. 23, 30, that's 7 grand. All right. So what I'm going to do is now that I've spoken to that buyer, I'm going to click on generate contract right from within this page. Then I'm going to go down to assignment agreement. All right. I'm going to click on assignment agreement and I'm going to go to the next tab. Once I click the assignment agreement, it's going to ask me who the buyer is. Let's just say that we spoke to the buyer, we put her into the system here, and the buyer's name was this Diane. All right. So that goes in, and from here, what we're going to do is we're going to click on next. All right, all we have to do is our assignment fee. Our assignment fee was $7,000, and the deposit is $2,000. I usually get a $2,000 non-refundable deposit. All right, that's what we do. I'm going to click on next. All right, so let's see how this came about. So it's going to bring in subject property. Usually we don't put legal description. If you need to put legal description, you can set that up. This agreement is made between Real Freedom Properties, who is an assignor, which means that we're assigning the contract to Diane. I don't want to put her last name in here because I don't know who she is here. I don't want her getting mad at me. All right, so we'd have a last name in there. Let's go ahead and get out of here. So between Diane, who's the assignee, we're the assigner assigning the property to her regarding the purchase of the above referenced property. Whereas Real Freedom Inc. has entered into a purchase and sale agreement with Sebastian, whatever his name is, as the seller for purchase of a subject property, and whereas the buyer, which is us, wishes to assign its rights, interests, and obligations in the purchase and sale agreement, is hereby between assigner and assignee as follows. Assignee shall pay assigner a non-refundable assignment fee of $7,000, payable $2,000 with signing of contract and balance at close. All right, everything else is set within here, and the only thing that we need here is we have our assignor, who we are. We'd have our signature here, and then we'd have Diane go ahead and sign this contract and give us a check for $2,000. You can have them give you the check for $2,000 in your personal name, or you can have them give it into your business name. I usually have it just sent to the title company. A lot of guys, a lot of other wholesalers want that check going right to them. So you can cash that right away. That money is yours. It's non-refundable. We never have any problems, so I just always have everything sent to the title company. You can do it any which way that you like. Like I said, a lot of wholesalers like to have the check sent to them directly. So you would do what you do now is you'd have her sign this agreement, and then what we would do is we would send this agreement and the original purchase and sale agreement to the title company and tell the title company, okay, we have this contract we have this house under contract. We have assigned this contract to Diane. Here is the assignment agreement, and then basically you just work out the day of the close. They're looking to close on this day. Let's say it's like, January 3rd. All right. So the title company is going to have all the contracts, and on January 3rd, they're going to go ahead and sell the deal. What you're going to do is you're going to bring in the buyer first. All right, the buyer is going to come in first, and he's going to bring in his money. He's going to sign all the contracts and everything, and then you're going to bring in the seller afterwards. And this is the way that I do it. You could do it any way you want, but I always do it the same exact way, and it's always worked out for me. I bring in the buyer first, that signs, gets all the information, and then I'll bring in the seller later, and then the seller will sign all the information, and then the title company wires me a check or leaves one right there, and the deal is done. And that is how you do it from start to finish. Everybody on these training calls, everybody on this training calls has the ability to get out of their current situation and start flipping properties if you follow the step-by-step. Everybody on this call has the ability to basically pay for the system 15 times over with just one deal. And everybody has the ability to go ahead and even if you were doing one deal a month for $6,000, that's an extra 72 grand minus marketing. Let's say you pay $1,000 a month in marketing, now you're at 62,000 bucks. And that replaces a lot of people's income. And it goes on from there. You put into it what you want to get out of it. You put into it what you want to get out of it. We've laid out the system. We have some high-level coaching too if you feel that you need more than this, which a lot of people do. A lot of people want that coaching because they know they're going to make it back on one deal. And they'd rather have that person behind them that they can ask all the questions and stuff like that. So make sure that you guys register for the event. Meet all of us down there. We have an absolute blast. We answer tons of questions. And we really have a blast doing this stuff, guys. So all this stuff is for you to be more successful, and we've just laid it out from start to finish. How to market, how to set up your contracts, how to do the entire system from start to finish in just this last 6 weeks. I'm sure there's other questions that you guys have. Jump on the call that we have Tuesday night. We have another special guest on Tuesday night's call, so make sure you jump on there. Then I'm going to be doing calls once a month where I'm going to be going through case studies just to make sure that you guys still understand. But go back through these trainings, do whatever you need to do, guys, because this is a great time to be in real estate. There's a lot of great deals out there, and there's a lot of people that are transitioning from the old investing in the stock market and IRAs into real estate now because the prices are cheap. This is the biggest wealth shift in the history. You need to take advantage of it. You need to go through this information. Don't get confused. And what I mean by don't get confused, don't get overwhelmed. Just take one bite at a time. And remember this saying, if you've learned anything out of all this, one thing is you don't have to get it perfect, you just got to get it going. You don't have to get it perfect, you just got to get it going. You got to get something started, guys. You got to get off of the sidelines and into this game. Once you're in, you're going to learn how to play very, very quickly. You have all the tools, you have all the things that you need to be successful. So go out there and do it. I will see you on, not next week's call, but the week after, and I will see you all in San Diego. All right, talk to you soon. Take care.